What's up, guys? Welcome to Demo with Mo. I'm your host, Monique Simmons. We'll be discussing dating, engaged, and married objectives from a young Christian's perspective. Are you guys ready? Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Let's Talk. I am your host, Monique Simmons. Tonight, I have a friend joining me, Miss Ashley Jenkins. Ashley wears a lot of hats, a lot of them. She is a social worker, therapist, wife, mom, minister, literally everything. Girl, you wear a lot of freaking hats, but you wear them very well. And tonight we're going to be talking about when life gets hard and how we handle it. How do we adjust? How do we deal with the changes? Because as long as we're on this side, things are going to happen. We're going to face struggles. We're going to face troubles. We're going to face trials. That's just part of what comes with being in this world. So I thought she would be the perfect person to invite on to have this conversation with on tonight. So Ashley, welcome. You're no stranger to Demo with Mo. You have joined me on multiple occasions, but thank you so much for joining me again on tonight.
You're welcome. And thank you always for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to dive right in. So as I've already stated tonight, our topic for Let's Talk. And for those of you who may be new to this conversation, this is a spinoff from something we do in our private community on Facebook, Dating, Engaged, and Married Objectives. Come on over to Facebook and join us. That's a private community where we deal with all things relationships, romantic relationships. We talk about everything. But we do these bi-weekly and sometimes monthly conversations where it's literally, it's called Let's Talk, where we have these conversations about things that we all deal with, but sometimes a lot of people are not talking about it for whatever reason, whether we don't want people in our business, we may not have that community or that village where we feel comfortable sharing certain things, whatever the reason is, we're just not really talking about these things. So I started these Let's Talk so we can actually have the conversation with like-minded people who are dealing with these same things that we're dealing with so that we know that we're not alone. So tonight, our topic is when life gets hard. And I don't know about you guys, but life gets hard for all of us. We're all dealing with something. We all face something. We all struggle with something. So Ashley, my question for you is, what does the statement, life is hard, what does that mean to you when you hear that? What does that even mean?
I think that with anything, it's always a perception, right? Because I can speak personally for myself. Life is hard means that one day parenting can be extra hard because I'm overstimulated and overwhelmed with the rest of my responsibilities. But other days it could be really easy. Um, so I think that it's like a situational, circumstantial type of thing. But when I think like life is hard, I just think of like daily struggles that you encounter,
I
just
like that.
obstacles or even barriers to maybe getting you to that easy place that you're trying to get to in life. So I think about one area that's really hard for me personally right now is my finances.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And I say that it's hard because I have a vision as to where I want my finances to go and be. And for whatever reason, I have a lot of obstacles right now and barriers that are keeping me from it being easy to obtain.
Ooh, yes, ma'am. I like that. I like that. Okay, so actually, let me ask you this because I like that you said it can be different for everyone and it's circumstantial. Why do you think some things are hard for some but not for others? Like me and you could literally be going through the same thing, and maybe it's hard for me, but it's not hard for you.
Back to the beginning of what I said, it's perception. It's choosing. Are you gonna, I think I said this in a reel that I made. Are you gonna cry about it? Are you gonna ask for help? Are you gonna try to find a solution? Are you gonna say, are you going to sit in defeat, basically? That's what I kind of think about. So, because sometimes things can be difficult, but we can just sit in the difficulty of it instead of trying to move past the difficulty because it just feels hard. I think that it has a lot to do with feelings. Something feels hard, so then we make it hard because then we start speaking it's hard, then we start thinking it's hard, man. Before you know it, it's a lot harder than what it actually was because we fed into the hardness of it, into the negativity of it. So there's always some positive aspect, even when things are hard, and I think you have to kind of look for that, if that makes sense.
Yes, totally makes sense. Let me ask you this based on what you just said, and this is not one of my questions, but I'm glad that you said this. Why do you think a lot of people allow their feelings to dictate what they do or their basis if life is hard or what they're going through is hard at this moment? Why do they allow how they feel about it to dictate everything else?
Because the feelings feel more real than the facts.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, what did
Okay.
I walk into?
The
Child.
feelings feel more real than the facts. I mean, it's just really that simple.
Okay, so do you think the season of life we're in or what we currently have going on dictates our response when certain things transpire in our life? Okay, for example, let's say, because I know you've been dealing with your daughter in her homework. I already know the fiasco
Yes,
with
Lord.
yeah, I've had two children to come through kindergarten, so when I say I understand your struggle wholeheartedly, girl, I empathize with you. But let's say on a regular day, it's no issue. It's no issue with you helping with her homework, even though it's the usual thing. You really don't necessarily. It's not fun, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not a big deal. But maybe on a day where you've had a stressful day at work, maybe you've had to deal with some clients, and it's been overwhelming. So
Mm-hmm.
now when you're helping your daughter with homework, you may be really frustrated on the
Mm-hmm.
day where it wouldn't bother you. So do you think that plays into how we respond to what we go through depending on what season of life we're in or what we have already going on?
Oh, absolutely. Like absolutely, absolutely. And and you have to be open to just walking away. Like what don't get done because you're just going to frustrate yourself more. And I had to learn this even with homework. I was like, oh man, we got to get this homework done. It's got to be done. And I'm like, but why? Who gonna die?
Amen.
Okay, she got to be in kindergarten. Ooh, okay. And that's just the reality of it. Like I'm competing with other people. Period. I'm trying to make my daughter better than somebody else's daughter. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep up with the standard, and we got to stop doing that. We're adding more frustration. We're making things more difficult for ourselves because it's times that I literally have to be like, I, Charlie, I can't. I can't. I had a long day. It's not you, baby. It's me. It's all me. Because I got to let her know. I let her know when it's her, but I also let her know when I know it's me, you know?
Yeah.
So the seasons, the day, like you said, it really just depends. But you have to be willing to say, I'm going to walk away from that right now and try to come back. Or I'm going to put in a plan B. Or I'm like, give yourself the grace to just put things down when they're not working for you, when they're not serving you, when you're in frustration because a lot of the things that we're putting on ourselves, we're literally putting them on ourselves. Nobody's doing it to us or making us, feel the ways that we're feeling. We're internalizing these feelings.
That's good, girl. Let me ask you this to follow up to that question. How can the people who on the call, the people who will be listening to this later, how can they be proactive about recognizing maybe I'm in a season of life where I can't do all the things that I did before? Maybe I need to pull back because right now I am overwhelmed. So maybe I will yell at my kids or be short with my spouse or blow up at the people at work or whatever your thing is for you.
Mhm.
How can they be proactive about recognizing that about themselves?
The only way that you can be proactive is if you first have self-awareness. So if you don't even know what triggers you, if you don't know yourself, you can't be proactive. And I mean, not just because I'm a therapist, because babe, I don't need no more clients. But go to therapy. If you cannot figure out or get ahead of your emotions, that means you need someone to help you to figure out those triggers, to figure out why you can't regulate your emotions. Because maybe you are at a place where you're like, oh, I know that that really triggers me, but every time it happens, you still blow up. Every time it happens, you're still frustrated. Every time it happens, you're still crying. So at that point, that means that you don't know how to regulate your emotions or even be able to get in front of them to be proactive. So it's a journey of learning yourself, learning your triggers, learning how to have tips and tools and different things where it's like, okay, let me count backwards from 5 because I feel myself. I feel it. Let me take some deep breaths because I feel overwhelmed right now. Let me just take a pause, like whatever that looks like. So it's those things, being proactive. But you first have to have self-awareness. You can't, it's impossible to be proactive without knowing yourself.
Amen. Right now, how do you respond when life gets hard? And has that always been your response for you personally? And ladies, you guys that's on the call, I want you guys to think about this question as well. If you're comfortable answering it, I would love to hear your response. If not, you totally do not have answered this question. But Ashley, how do you respond when life gets hard?
So the way that I respond now is different than how I responded even a year ago. I myself am in therapy and doing work on myself. And so the way that I respond now is I literally slow my speech down. Have you all, I mean, some of us are believers and some are not, but biblically it says to, be slow to speak, quick to
Mhm, mhm.
listen, and slow to wrath. So I literally have to, when I feel myself getting too upset, too frustrated, too overwhelmed, I have to start talking like this. And people probably are like, why is she talking to me like that? Because I feel myself getting frustrated. So what I'm going to do is slow myself down because you're going to keep frustrating me whether you're trying to or not. And I can't control you. However, I can control me. So I'm going to slow my speech down because once I do that, it makes me mindful of my thoughts. Then I'm able to slow those down. And then I'm slower to wrath or slower to acting out in anger or in my feelings. So I start by first slowing my speech down. That helps me slow my thoughts down, which then help me slow my behaviors down.
That's
That was
good.
good. That
And
was
it's
really,
very practical.
yeah, that was. I guess I go. Oh, I used to be a fireball. And then I would file, and then I would completely shut down, and there would be. I would mainly take it out on those around me, like close to me. Like my husband would get it. Like
Mhm.
my friends would get it. So moving forward, I started therapy and I did stop, but I had to realize, like, I had to look at myself in the mirror and like, you don't have control of yourself. Like you got to gain some type of, self-control and not let somebody have so much, have that power over you and have you so angry. So now when I feel myself like that, I shut down, but I communicate way better. Like I'm like, look, I'm gonna call you back in 2 days now. Give me a couple of days or give me a couple of hours. But I completely shut down to, stop myself from saying something that I would later regret. So
yeah,
I'm getting better at it. I'm way better at it. Way better.
That's awesome. It really is. Okay. Allie, did you want to answer that? I didn't want to move past you if you did. And if not, that's totally fine.
I'm trying to sorry, I was trying to unmute. So we're just saying about how we used to respond and how we respond now.
How we respond now when life gets hard,
yeah.
Has it always been your response?
As far as like with being overwhelmed or just anything of that nature, based on y'all responses, mine is going to seem weird because I always just kind of pace myself, and to go through my own thoughts. I start cleaning.
Ain't nothing weird about that.
So, because as I'm cleaning, I'm working out the anger because I'm doing something with that energy, but I'm also, thinking through, well, am I overreacting to this or am I thinking, this through the right way? And then I'm able to come away with it with clear thoughts and address whatever I need to address with a clearer head, clearer mind.
And have you always done that?
I've always been one to revert to cleaning, but as far as addressing anything, no, I wouldn't address it. I would just keep it in.
Got you.
And to follow up to answer the first part, no, I was not always like that. I'm going off. I'm saying every emotion. You gonna hear what I gotta say, and I'm gonna get this off my chest. And then once I get it off my chest, I'm gonna keep talking about it until I feel better. But I learned I need to stop doing that.
Yeah. That's what's up, ladies. Okay. So my next question, and this is for everybody, I'm going to put a poll in the chat for you guys as I talk to Ashley. So Ashley, do you lean on others or allow people to support you when life is hard?
Oh, I'm getting all the support. All of the support. Every single piece of support I can get.
Ooh, girl. Okay.
Did not used to be like that, though.
It's hard for me to accept help sometimes. I guess for me, it depends on who it's coming from. Even with my husband, sometimes I struggle with, like, I'm like, I can do it. I can do it. I got it. So that's something that's an area in my life I feel like I really need to get better at. And it's okay to, it's okay to have support. I know that. But when it comes down to it, it's like, I got it. I can do it. I can be on my last leg. And I'm like, okay, I got it. But then it would hurt me so bad to say, okay, yeah, all right, I got you. I need a little help.
Girl, Keisha, I feel you. We were talking about this with our marriage therapist a few weeks back. And for my listeners, you guys know how I feel about therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy. I'm in individual therapy, and my husband and I see our marriage therapist, whom we've seen for years. But we were having this conversation with her a few weeks back, and I allowed myself to be vulnerable and share things that I usually would not necessarily just share. That's just me being honest with you guys. And he was like, see, this is what I need. This is what I need from her right here. He's talking to our therapist as if I'm not sitting right there. But this is what I need from her because this is why everybody thinks she has it all together. And it's not like, I don't even know how to explain this. Logically speaking, I know we all need help. I know we all need support. I literally show up for everybody in my life. Like if somebody needs help, I know I'm the person they're going to call. If they need support, I know I'm the person that they're going to call. I know this. But for some reason, I don't know how to just do that. Like, I know it's important. I know it's needed. Like I said, I know that in my head, but me actually just doing it is completely different. Like, I don't lean on others or allow people to support me in my life. If I'm being completely honest, I don't. And for so long, I thought I did. Like, if I was to ask myself this question a few years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I sure do. I lean on my village. Yes, I do. But I would be lying because I don't. I really don't. Like, I'm the friend that say, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I'm good, girl. I promise I'm good. Like, I'm good. Even though I would literally be going through hard things in my life and dealing with stuff. And even if I shared certain things with my friends, like, they would know some of the things that I was going through. But to them, even to my husband, the person that I share my life with, that I sleep in the bed with every night, that knows the things I'm going through, even to him looking at me, I'm going through these things, but I look like I am good. You are good. So you don't need the help and the support. But I know I need the help and the support, but I don't allow people to be that for me. So no, I don't do it. I don't do it.
I know. I'm sorry, I'm not hosting, but I do have a question because this is just the therapist in me.
Mhm.
So my quick question: when you say that you know something, I guess it would be for you and Markeisha. Do you practice it though?
Oh, okay. Let me say this now. Before therapy, before I started my individual therapy, that would have been my response, what I just said, everything of
Right.
what I just said. But when I started my individual therapy, I learned why I'm that way. I learned why I felt like I had to be that way. And
Mm-hmm.
I have started to do something completely different. A
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend reached out to me. I saw my therapist, my personal therapist, last week. And literally after I left my session, a girlfriend reached out to me about something totally random. She didn't even know I was in therapy that day. And she asked me how I was doing. And when I usually would respond, oh, I'm great. Things are good, my usual response of how I, would respond. I gave her an honest response of the things that I had talked about in therapy and what I was working through and how I was working through those emotions and how hard it was that day, and was honest. And she responded with, I'm so proud of you. I know how hard that was for you. Because we've been friends over 10 years, so she really knows me. But she was like, I know how hard that was for you. Because that's not a usual response from me. But again, me going to therapy and putting the work in, I am learning to apply the things that I learn in therapy and really do the work. So to
Because
answer your question.
practice makes perfect.
Yep.
So if you logically know something, like how you and Marquisha are like, I know, then that means it's time to go past the know and start practicing some stuff.
I agree with you 100%. Keisha, you hear that?
I was saying, I asked Mo a follow up question to her question, which was, although you all know that you need support, and logically in your mind, you know that it's okay to ask for help. I asked her basically, does she practice it on some level? Like on some level, if somebody reach out, are you gonna say, no, I'm not the best today? And you could just leave it at that. You ain't gotta go into detail or nothing. But the fact is that you're starting to practice being more honest in your responses and being more honest in, no, I'm not really having a good day today. Because that could move you towards being more comfortable, to seek support, but you have to start practicing on some level. So that was, my little question or nugget. It's like practice makes perfect. So if you know something and you're trying to move past just knowing it, that means that you need to apply it on some level. No, you might not that day be able to just go and start asking everybody for support, but just giving an honest answer, like Mo said, when somebody says, "How's your day?" Not the best. That's practicing.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question, Ashley, do you feel guilty? And if anyone else wants to answer this as well, feel free to. But do you feel guilty verbalizing life is hard when it feels like others are going through worse things?
Sometimes, yes, for sure. And then even if I can take it past that, like when life is hard, when you are a believer and you prayed for certain things, and then the things that you prayed for, they end up being hard, and you be like, Lord, ain't no way. Ain't no way I prayed myself into this. What is this? This is ghetto. But then, it takes you to a place where you like, dang, now I feel like I'm being ungrateful. I feel guilty because I did, and I still do want this, but this is hard. This is really, really hard. So yeah, that guilt is for sure there for me.
And I think, to follow up on what you said, especially as a Christian and a believer, you can definitely have that guilt. But at the same time, both can be true. I can be grateful for the things that God has given me, my marriage, my children, my job, my home, whatever it is that we have that we've specifically asked God for, and He's opened a door. I can be grateful, but it can still be hard. Both can be true at the same time.
Yes.
Because some of this stuff be hard. Like you said, it be ghetto.
Yes.
Okay, did any of you guys want to respond to that question? Do you guys ever feel guilty complaining? I feel like this, especially with women on this call, I feel like this is something we as women do a lot. Like we feel like we can't complain or talk about what we're going through or feel bad about what we're going through, because we don't want to come off like it's other. I hear people say it all the time, other people have it worse off than me, but my stuff can be hard too, and other people can have it worse off than me. But that doesn't take away that your life is hard right now. What you're going through is difficult right now. That doesn't take away from that.
So very true. It can be both.
Okay, so before I read this question, last night, have y'all seen Creed 3 yet?
I don't think I watched. Did I watch? No, I haven't seen
The
Creed
new
3.
one. Okay. Keisha, Al, have y'all seen Creed 3
No,
yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
No. Okay. Keisha? No. Okay. Okay. So we, my husband and I, we snuck off last night and went to the movies and saw this. It was an amazing movie. Like the whole storyline was good. And I know it was good because my husband could not stop talking about the storyline, about I don't want to give the movie away. I don't want to give the movie away because it's a really good movie. But he could not stop talking about the guy and how he had to work through his past and his childhood stuff and how it had followed him into his adulthood and into his marriage and all of the things. Like, it was really good. So let me ask you this, Ashley. What happens when we suppress or ignore how we really feel about the things going on in our lives? Where we try to ignore it and act like we don't feel this way, but we really are feeling this way.
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, it depends on the person. That's a lot of I'm sorry, these questions be kind of hard for me to answer just generally. So you're gonna get burned out trying to bottle all that stuff in, I feel like, at some point. You're either gonna shut down, blow up. Everyone's gonna respond to it differently, but it's gonna be a negative response at some point. If you never allow yourself to feel the feelings, it's going to be some type of negative outcome, response, something. It can even show up in your health, for some people. I know that, migraines, tension in your body, you bottling all that stuff up, being more explosive, more irritable. I see it a lot, especially with people who have passive aggressive personalities. They say they let it go. It's nothing. So it can come out like as aggression when you just say you're over it, say you dealt with it, but it's probably going to look different for different people. But I just feel as though it's always going to be some type of negative outcome if you don't deal with it.
I agree 100%. 100%. Okay, so when things are hard for someone in a relationship or marriage, does this affect their partner? If so, how?
I think Markeisha kind of talked about that because the ones closest to us always get the worst of it. So
Yeah.
it's definitely, I'll speak for myself. I know when I was going through my stuff emotionally before I even got in therapy and life had gotten overwhelming for me, it wasn't just life, it was the fact that I was dealing with things in the present and also dealing with things in the past that I didn't realize at the same time. And so, I would be so angry when my husband did not realize that I needed emotional support. I would be very, very angry and irritable when I was like at my breaking point. And then I'm like yelling at him like, I'm about to be in a nut house. Little do y'all know, like, all of
Yeah.
this is about to fall apart. And he looking like, baby, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you seem good to me. Last week, you just was on a high of getting everything done and everything was great. So I think in a relationship, you have to communicate and stop assuming that your partner knows what you're going through because maybe they're going through their own stuff and they just don't express it or you can't see their stuff and you're mad at them. So you have to communicate because you usually take that stuff out on your partner in some negative way. And so I think that it's really important that, you communicate with your spouse about your different emotions and feelings and things going on because it does affect you negatively when, you're feeling all the emotions and going through all the things and the weight of the world is on your shoulders and then you start blowing up at them or don't want to touch them or don't want to be touched or those different things, then rejection is coming into play. It's a lot of things that can happen when you're in a bad place emotionally and the other spouse is just trying to guess.
Yeah. Communication is going to be key.
Yep, every time. And making sure there's an understanding there.
Let me ask you this. What are different ways people in your life who love you can show up for you when life is hard? Whether that be your partner or your spouse or your close friends, but any of those people who really in your life who love you, what are some different ways that they can show up for you when your life is hard?
For me, I remember this was before I got in therapy, I believe. But I had to let them know that the way they were showing up for me was not what I needed. Like my
Mhm.
mom, especially, because she's always like, well, I do this, I get the kids, I'm all these things. Like she gave me a whole laundry list, and I'm like, that's not what I need though. I need somebody to say, how are you feeling emotionally today? Because nobody does that for me. And
Yeah.
I do it for people all the time. And so for me, it was not just about giving me money or taking the kids, like, thanks for taking the kids, but I'm still emotionally drained and nobody's checking in on me emotionally. Like, I'm just because you took the kids, I'm still depressed this week. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I got that break, but I'm literally depressed and nobody knows it. So I
Mm.
need emotional check-ins. I need somebody to see me. Like I was not being seen at all.
Girl, girl, I would piggyback off you in that response. That's as a person, as I told you guys earlier, I am not good at leaning in and asking for help and allowing people. And it's not even, I don't even want to say allowing them to support me, because when people offer to help or show up, I have no problem allowing them to do that with a smile on my face. Like, I welcome it. I just struggle with the asking for the help. That's the part that I struggle with. So for me, I ditto what you're saying, the emotional check-ins for me, because I want somebody, or I want it, and that's why I preface the people in your life who love you. Because don't get me wrong, it's
Yeah.
it's nice to have strangers you see in the store smile at you, and all of those things are nice. But when the people who really love you and know you, when they show up for you, it matters. It makes a difference. So I'm with you. I don't even want to say want. I need the emotional check-ins. I need to be seen. I need to be, Monique, are you good? Like, I know you're telling me that you're good, but I know you. So I know you'll tell me you're good even when you're not good. So are you really good? Like, that's what I need.
Yep.
That's what I need. Yeah.
Same. And then I was so angry because they weren't showing up the way I needed them to. But the crazy part was I never really expressed it to them.
Yeah.
I never told them. I would just blow up, and then everybody's looking at me like, girl, we don't know what is happening with you, like, at all. You're just blowing up on everybody. So I was just so angry. But once again, I now know why, because I didn't felt seen and heard and all of those things as a kid. So I now am responding from trauma. I'm responding from that, however old that girl was that never felt seen or heard or whatever. And now as an adult, when I don't feel that again, I'm blowing up. I'm not going to let y'all just not see me now. Like, and I'm acting out like a teenager, like a preteen, so it was craziness.
And it's so funny because I'm the complete opposite of you. My response is the complete opposite because of my response of things from my childhood. I'm an avoidant. So when stuff happens and I'm triggered, or I feel like I'm that little girl again, I pull back from people. If I don't feel valued or seen, or I don't feel like I'm being heard, or you're not listening to me, or what I'm saying doesn't matter, I withdraw. I literally will revert back in, because now I feel like that little girl that nobody's listening to. What I'm saying doesn't matter. So what's the point of even saying it? So I do the complete opposite. You want to be heard. You yell so they can hear you. And I pull back so you can notice that I'm not there. So I'm the complete opposite. So that's something that my husband and I had to work on. And that was that communication piece that we've already talked about, is being able to express that this is what I need. Even though we know this, we still do it. But I can't get upset with you. And not just my husband, but again, the people that I love. I can't be upset with you if I have not expressed what I need. You can't meet a need or an expectation that I have not expressed to you. Now, if I've expressed it to you and you know what I need and you're not doing it, that's something completely different. But if I have not shared it with you and I'm still upset, we have a problem. So that's something that I had to learn, how to communicate my needs.
And Allie said in the chat that she's the same way as you, Mo.
Girl, it's a whole thing.
And I was gonna say, I believe that for me, it stems from childhood as well. My parents divorced when I was like 2 years old. It was an abusive situation, and I'm the oldest. It's just my sister and I, so I'm the oldest. So for me, it was always like, well, I'm the oldest, so that's that pressure. And then,
Oh,
my
Allie.
mom needs to give that attention to my sister. My sister is more sensitive than I am. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to suck mine up and just deal with it myself because she needs this. Or, you get what I'm saying?
Allie, get out my business. Get up out my business. I am the oldest. It's just my brother and my parents divorced as well. And the divorce was very ugly. And I had the same experience. My parents always thought that I was strong, the same way people see me now. My parents, as a child, saw me the same way. It wasn't until my adulthood that me and my mom finally talked about this. And she was like, you were so strong, and your brother, he needed me, and all of these things. So I did the same exact thing as you. So yes, I understand completely. Yeah. Wow. Okay, Ashley, last question. What advice or encouragement would you give to the person who is struggling right now? They feel like they are drowning and no one knows, or feels like no one cares. They've been trying to figure it out on their own, but it isn't working. What do you say to them?
Go to therapy. Seek professional help. If you're at a place where you feel like you're drowning, you need a life vest. You need, if you're a believer, pray is good. Church, surround yourself around that to build yourself up spiritually, but also go to therapy. Seek, professional help. If you're not in a place where you're strong enough to do that, then I need you to lean on the people around you. I need you to communicate your needs. I talked to somebody today that was like, I don't even know what I need. So I told them, you need to be on a journey of discovering yourself then. If you're at a place where you're like, it's so much, I don't even know what I need, then you need to get back to you. You don't know you anymore. Something has happened where you've lost yourself. So those would be the things I would say. Go to therapy. Try to discover who you are at this stage in your life because you have probably lost yourself. And then lean on your support system if it's there. Communicate with them, be honest with them. But can I be honest with you? You really can't do any of this stuff until you can do it with yourself first. So that's why I started with go to therapy. It's really not me trying to be funny about it. Because
Amen.
if you can't know you and you can't be honest with you, or you don't even know where to start, how can you even ask for help from your support system or communicate that and then realize that it's going to take some time for them to be able to show up for you the way that you need it and be okay with that? You can't do any of that from an unhealed place.
So good. So good. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I have enjoyed you as
You're so welcome.
always. I mean, I just love talking to you. Like
I know. I love talking to you too. Can't wait till we not talking in front of people so I can talk.
But thank you again. Can you let my audience know, because this will be going live later, can you let my audience know how they can find all things Ashley?
Yes, I am on Instagram, Neighborhood Hope Dealer 2022. Neighborhood Hope Dealer 2022 on Instagram. And you can also follow me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Influential Touch LLC, and it'll come up counseling, consulting, and coaching. So Influential Touch LLC on Facebook and on Instagram, Neighborhood Hope Dealer 2022. I'm also on TikTok. I think on there I'm Neighborhood Hope Dealer 22.
Awesome sauce. I told y'all she wear a lot of hats. I told y'all. Allie, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. I really appreciated you being here. I hope you have enjoyed our conversation.
You're welcome, and I have enjoyed it.
Ladies, thank you again so much. I appreciate you guys. All right, to my audience, remember, I love you, but God loves you so much more. You guys have a great night. Bye, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.
I hope you guys have enjoyed. Follow me on Facebook at Demo with Mo. If you have any questions you would like answered here live on my podcast, email them to me at demowithmo@gmail.com. That's DEMOWITHMO@gmail.com.